Hello everyone! So today we are focusing on level 3, unit 1, still the first unit, third lesson, and we will see different example of adding and subtracting integers. So, step 1, go ahead and write down the practice assignment. We have 3 different worksheets for this particular activity or lesson folder, and absolutely you're gonna start working with those worksheets, but once our first thing is to complete the notes, because otherwise we may not know what to do. So just have the information written down and we will go slowly step by step to each one of those worksheets. Then in the middle here, it's the main information that you will need for that lesson, and I'm providing you with a few rules of adding and subtracting integers. So we're going to begin with addition, and addition rule says if we add two positive numbers, we always get positive answer. If we add two negative numbers, then the answer is also negative. Now, if we add one positive and one negative, and positive is the larger number that has a positive sign, then the answer will be positive. If we're adding two numbers with opposite signs, one positive and one negative, and the larger number has a negative sign, then the answer will also be negative. So please replay the video or the rules that I just mentioned if you need to hear it one more time, because it is important. And for subtraction, actually we're going to use exactly the same rules, but we will have to change one thing before we apply the rules. So with subtraction, we're going to add all the opposite. We will change the subtraction sign to addition sign. We will change the sign of the second number, and we will follow the addition rules. I know at this point this seems pretty confusing, and I totally understand, but I'm gonna ask you to write down the steps, and then I will show you what do we mean by that. You will see it's pretty easy. Just when we're using a lot of words, sometimes we get confused. So please don't worry about that. Write it down, have it as a rule, and we will go over. So at this point, I will continue with the practice examples, and if you need to pause the video, the power is in your hands. Just press pause button and finish your notes. Example number 1. We have given, and I'm gonna just zoom those a little bit, find the sum of all those examples. So if I have 0 plus negative 4, well, number plus 0 is always the same number, right? So this is a quick one that we know is equal to negative 4. What happened here? We have negative 13 plus 32. One negative, one positive. So we said we're gonna find, well, subtract, we'll find the difference between those because they have a different sign. And then we're gonna write down the sign of the larger number. So negative 13 plus 32, you can rewrite this as a 32 minus 13, right? Same thing. So 32 minus 13 will give us, what number will be? So we have 7 and 12, 19. So the answer here will be 19. In the next example, we have negative 8 plus 12. So one positive, one negative. What's the difference between those two? The difference between those two is 4, and we keep the sign of the larger number, which is positive. Then we're going to bring down this plus negative 19. So for plus negative 19, again, we have two numbers with opposite sign. So we're going to find the difference between those two, 4 and 19. If you subtract, you will get 15. The larger number has a negative sign, so I'm going to keep the negative sign, and we'll get negative 15. In the next example, we have 17 plus negative 10, which is positive 7. We'll write down the rest of it, plus negative 6. So 7 plus negative 6, we will subtract the two numbers. Again, 7 minus 6 is 1, and the larger number is positive, so the answer stays positive. We're asked to evaluate three expressions. So I'm going to keep those up here. You can go ahead and write down the answer. Otherwise, if you're done with those, look at the expressions. Evaluate those expressions when x is equal negative 5, y is 14, z is negative 22. So we know when we have variable involved and variables equal to some number, we just need to substitute those variables with the exact number. So that will be 4 plus negative y is 14 plus z is negative 22. So 4 plus negative 14, this will give me negative 10, and then plus negative 22. So negative 10 plus negative 22 will give us negative 32. Two numbers with the same sign, we add those two. 10 plus 22 is 32, and we keep the negative sign. Next expression is x plus y. So x is negative 5 plus y is 14. Negative 5 plus 14, both numbers have a different sign, so we're going to subtract those. 14 minus 5 is 9, and we will keep the sign of the larger number, which is in this case positive number. Alright, well, let's take a look at a couple more examples. So another good example of solving, example or problems like that have a few numbers involved is example number 3, and we're gonna work with those. So negative 40 plus negative 30. Negative 40 plus negative 30 is negative 70 plus 21. Then negative 70 plus 21 will give us 70 minus 21 is 49, and we will write down negative sign because the larger number has negative sign. For the next example, we have negative 15 plus 15, which is those two will give me 0, plus negative 23. Well, anything added to 0 will stay the same, so it's negative 23, final answer. Then we have negative 12 plus negative 20. Those two will be, so if we have two numbers with the same sign, we add those, we get 32, and we keep the negative sign. Plus negative 13. So negative 32 plus negative 13, we add those two. 32 and 13 will give us 45, and we keep the negative sign because they both have negative. Alright, subtracting integers, some other examples when we have negative sign between. Negative 14 minus 5. So on the front page, when I ask you to write down those steps, this is what we're going to do now. So we will change the subtraction sign to a positive sign, and then we will change the sign of the second number. So here's what we're going to do. Negative 14, so I will change this to plus and this to minus. And when we are adding two negatives together, we add the numbers. 14 and 5 will give us 19, and we're gonna keep the negative sign because they both have the same exact sign. And that's all. We solved it. In the next example, when you have two negatives touching each other or with parentheses symbol between, we always change those to plus. So basically we have 2 plus 6 here, which is 8. Final answer. Right here again we have two negatives that are changing to plus, so I'm gonna have negative 5 plus 4, and the difference between this one negative, one positive, 5 minus 4 is 1, and we will bring down the sign of the larger number, so negative 1 will be my final answer. How do we evaluate expressions when we have this case? Well, we will substitute a, b, and c with the given numbers and we'll solve it. So 15 minus, make sure to keep negative sign, and now a itself is negative 9. Then another minus, and b is 18. So those two negatives change to plus, and we get 15 plus 9 minus 18. Well, based on PEMDAS rules, we will start from left to right. So 15 plus 9 will give me 24 minus 18. And 24 minus 18 will be 6. So final answer here is 6. Next expression, a is negative 9, minus b is 18, minus c is negative 4. So I will keep those, negative 9 minus 18, but we'll combine those two and we'll say plus 4. So now from left to right, we're going to add those two. When we have negative and negative, we said we change the sign to plus and we add negative here. So negative 9 plus negative 18. 9 and 18 are 27. We keep the negative sign, plus 4. Negative 27 plus 4 will give us negative 23. Final answer. Those are the brief descriptions of how we combine and solve expressions, and it's mainly review from what you learned last year. Definitely we'll do some more examples in the classroom, but for now I want you to focus on the word problem. We have another word problem as usual to end the lesson, and let's see what it's about. In fourth place, a football team gains 3 yards. They lose 7 yards, they lose another 2 yards, and then they gain 15 yards. How many yards did the team gain after 4th place? So let's go ahead and write this word problem as an expression. So it's gains means we are adding something, so this will be plus. When we talk about loses, then we talk about minus, because we are taking away points or yards. So will be positive 3 because it's plus 3, then loses will be minus 7, loses another 2, minus 2, and then gains another 15. So we can write down gains 3 yards, loses 2 yards, and then gains another 15. How many yards did the team gain after 4th place? So we just need to solve this expression to see how many yards total actually they move forward or gain. 3 minus 7, we're going to start with this, is negative 4, and then I will copy the rest, minus 2 plus 15. Then negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6 plus 15. Negative 6 plus 15 will be positive 9. 9 yards is the final answer here. So those players, football players, they gain 9 yards. Oops, sorry, right here. Final answer. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you have questions, and have a great day.